Welcome to Eye on KELOLAND Rewind. I'm Maddie Paul, and we have a lot of stories to share with you today. Up first, Pickstown, the small town with plenty of history.
If you blink as you drive through Pickstown, you might miss it.
It's a quiet, peaceful town. You never have to worry about crime. You run to the window if a car drives by. It's that quiet.
Dennis Nielsen and his wife have spent over 5 decades in Pickstown.
We're probably the two longest tenured people in Pickstown right now, and it's a record I hope to keep for a while.
Nielsen also knows a thing or two about the town's history. One of the first major historical events in the area happened over 200 years ago.
The Lewis and Clark expedition went through this area in 1806 on their journey up the Missouri and onto the West Coast.
You can learn a lot about Pickstown's history inside its museum.
I just love how this museum is set up so naturally. There is something for everyone at this museum.
You can check out a diorama of Fort Randall, a military outpost that was active from 1856 to 1892. If you want to see what's left of it, you can venture to the southwest of town, which is where you'll find the fort's old chapel.
It was primarily for protection of the boat traffic on the Missouri River and also control of local native areas at the time.
Perhaps the most notable visitor to the fort was Chief Sitting Bull. He and some of his followers were incarcerated inside the outpost from 1881 to 1883.
They were inside the fort, but they lived in tents, and each day in the morning they all had to sit outside their tents and be identified as being present, so they didn't escape the area.
After the outpost demise, the Fort Randall name would live on through the Fort Randall Dam decades later.
The construction of the dam under the Pick-Sloan Project. And the Pick-Sloan Project authorized the 6 dams on the Missouri River from Fort Peck, Montana to Yankton, South Dakota.
Construction of the Fort Randall Dam began in 1946. Workers needed a place to stay during the project, so Pickstown was born.
At one time, the town of Pickstown had a population approaching 5,000 people.
A booming population also brought the need for a school. Its first graduating class was in 1949. It was fittingly home to the engineers, where they played sports like football, basketball, and track. One notable student was former NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw.
The school was really the center of the town at the time.
But the school's operations would only last around 20 years. The final graduating class was in 1968.
The population of the town in late 60s was down to probably 100 to 150 people, and many of those people at the time were people that first were employed at the dam after the completion of the dam, and as they aged, the number of children available for schooling in the town probably decreased, and so they consolidated mostly to Lake Andes.
However, Pickstown didn't fold. In the 1980s, Nielsen says the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers transferred the town to the people.
The town had a vote on incorporating in October 1985, and it was officially incorporated in August of 1986.
In the 40 years or so since, it has stayed the nice, pleasant town it is today.
The people are so genuine, so gracious. Everyone says hi to you when you walk by.
And the town of just a couple hundred would love to see more people.
All the people are friendly, and we welcome visitors and we enjoy them.
More stories to come when we come back after the break.
Deputies of the Sioux Falls Area Fugitive Task Force sit down for a quick briefing to see who they'll be looking to arrest today. The first 2 on the list, Alejandro David Pena Navarro and Dylan Jameis Smith.
Dylan Smith, warrant is for robbery, 2nd degree. We prioritize the warrants by the level of violence and the threat to the community. These two are very serious crimes of robbery and aggravated assault, but we also have fresh information on where they're located this morning, so we're going to start working those first.
The deputies suit up with protective gear and get ready to head out in unmarked vehicles, hoping to apprehend two of the county's most wanted.
We're always trying to switch up the vehicles that we're in, give us a little bit of advantage on being able to contain these people that are wanted. They're so quick to flee, and once they flee, they start endangering the public inherently. They're either fleeing in a car or in a foot pursuit. We're running after them or we're chasing after them, and so we want to contain that.
But they want to do it safely for everyone involved.
Which gets to be pretty difficult at times when we are dealing with people that are harboring or assisting them or lying to us about where they're located, and we're worried about everybody's safety. Not only our own, but the public safety on how we're going to apprehend them and the suspect's safety.
The task force, which is made up of county deputies from both Minnehaha and Lincoln and one Sioux Falls police officer, goes out daily looking for criminals to serve them warrants. Sergeant Qualseth says a lot has changed over his 21-year career in law enforcement.
Violent offenses that we're going after every day have gone up. We're constantly going after people that don't want to go back to jail, go back to prison, and so they're doing illogical things, trying to get away from us, and it gets stressful at times. You're dealing with families and people trying to hide them, and at the same token, while we're trying to wade through that, we're trying to safely take this person into custody.
Tracking down the suspects isn't easy. It takes planning, research, and what Sergeant Qualseth says are good old-fashioned investigative techniques.
We go down to Southwestern or we don't.
The task force has to be fluid.
Be going after one person if something kicks off on a different side of town, or we have information that a higher priority target is located somewhere else. We're going to switch right away and focus on that.
If police get new information on a high-risk offender, they may have to switch gears immediately. That's exactly what happened on our ride-along.
10 seconds, took that corner and he was gone. I did not see him cross the street. There's only businesses there. He could have ducked in.
They're talking about Dylan Smith, the robbery suspect we told you about earlier. They get a tip that someone had seen him in the area of 14th Street and Minnesota Avenue on a bicycle.
Going westbound on 14th.
But minutes later, they get another tip with a new location, so they react quickly.
Still on 14th or Spring?
Right in front of that house right there on 14th. The door just opened.
So we had info of one specific unit at one house. Now we have him going into a different house that has 3 apartments.
We are here and we are ready. We'll call it out if everyone else is good to go.
Deputies surround the apartment and contact management to get a key to go inside. Once inside, they know Smith is there, along with another man who they tell to stand outside for his own safety.
The person that came to us was lying at the door, but we could tell he was lying. And then he finally let us know that he was inside. He told me that he was in the living room.
But watch what happens next. Smith opens the first floor window and jumps out and makes a run for it. But he doesn't get far, thanks to the deputies who were pre-positioned to make sure there was no way out for Smith.
Let's get you up. Don't run again, please.
They get him handcuffed and escort him back to the vehicle as he tosses out some expletives,
your camera,
along with some hand gestures to our cameras.
Sioux Falls has seen all kinds of new stores popping up, from locally owned coffee shops to well-known clothing favorites in 2025.
I think about what is my mood, what am I wanting, and then I always find a place.
It didn't take long for Sioux Falls resident Melissa Elrod Miller to name off one of her favorites in town.
Oh, Atoli. I come get my nails done here. I'll get facials here. You can get massages here. I get my hair done here.
Elrod Miller says she enjoys the welcoming feeling most. Whether a business has been open for multiple years or just a few months, community leaders want to make the startup process as resourceful as possible.
The last thing we want is someone starting a business on a dream without a solid business plan.
because that's just going to be a poor financial decision for them. But it really, the best service the Chamber of Commerce can offer are those connections.
President and CEO of the Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce, Jeff Griffin, says the group connects business owners with programs like the Sioux Falls Development Foundation and the Young Professionals Network.
We want new businesses to also not only bring their business, but they're bringing their talent, and their talent we can take advantage of by having them work on boards of directors or in philanthropy and with our school district and so forth.
Attracting not only businesses, but visitors too. This is Marquise Griggs' first trip to Sioux Falls, and today he's taking in what downtown has to offer.
I'm from Maryland and DC area, so I'm not used to small cities or places like Sioux Falls, but it feels homey.
Meanwhile, Tanaya Evans is back in town, checking out places she hasn't been to yet.
I like a lot of the restaurants here, like JL Beers is really good.
But the city is growing, and Griffin says with that, there's no limit to what kinds of businesses could pop up around town.
There are some incentives, but because of the business climate and the low tax burden, that's what businesses want.
Residents hopeful that someday one of their favorites might land in Sioux Falls.
One that came to my mind was Cheesecake Factory, just because, who doesn't love cheesecake? There is a place in Iowa, it's right around Des Moines, Iowa, that I do love, and it is called Fong's Pizza.
Heading into the new year, community leaders have their eyes set on how to best prepare for future economic growth.
We are taking steps where we explore like a Des Moines, Iowa, or an Omaha, or a Columbus, Ohio, and see where they were 20, 30 years ago and what things they would have done different. Because as we grow, the challenges grow as well.
And they look forward to welcoming future businesses, big and small.
More stories for Eye on KELOLAND Rewind coming up next after the break.
It's colorless, it's odorless, and at 10,000 times stronger than morphine, carfentanil is one of the most lethal substances on the streets today. For families who've lost loved ones to it, the impact is devastating.
You lose them twice, once to addiction and then once to death.
Lisa Peters' daughter died on November 9th of last year when she unknowingly consumed a substance laced with a fatal dose of carfentanil. Before addiction got a hold of her, Shannon was a vibrant young woman. She died at age 32.
I have more questions than answers for sure about her whole addiction. And when I see that carfentanil on the death certificate, I'm like, what is this?
Peters is far from alone. Angela Kennecke, founder of Emily's Hope, lost her daughter to opioids in 2018. Since then, she has dedicated her life to education, treatment access, and prevention.
If you think about fentanyl, it takes about what's equivalent to 4 grains of salt to kill someone. That's hardly anything. Carfentanil takes a fraction of that. So it is extremely potent, extremely deadly. It's an elephant tranquilizer, and it shouldn't be in anything that a human being takes.
Dr. Hannah Stotz de Vries from Avera Behavioral Health says the drug was never intended for humans. When it enters the human bloodstream, the effect is nearly immediate.
We know that it has a high likelihood, has a high risk for overdose and death. It is 100 times more potent than fentanyl. And we hear about fentanyl, all of the time. And fentanyl is deadly. Well, carfentanil is a lot more deadly.
Carfentanil is one of many synthetic opioid substances. Structurally, it is very similar to the synthetic fentanyl that, unfortunately, we're used to seeing.
The big picture here is that it's an opioid-type medication that's working at the same receptor that makes you stop breathing.
Emily's Hope in the state of South Dakota support a program to distribute Narcan or naloxone around KELOLAND. The kits come with 2 doses, but with carfentanil, that may not be enough.
Naloxone, or known by the name brand Narcan, is an opioid antagonist. It blocks the opioid receptors in the body. These are powerful synthetic opioids. It will work, but it's so powerful, it could take multiple doses. It could take a stronger dose of naloxone that's not always available, so it won't work in every case.
And that's what happened to Shannon. She was given naloxone, but it was either too late or too little to save her.
I think she got Narcaned several times that night, by her husband and paramedics, and just, there's no reviving her. I mean, I don't know why it's out there, why anybody would want to even market it for people. I don't know. I mean, it's deadly.
Drug dealers are always looking, the cartels are always looking for cheap, easy ways to get people addicted, things to lace other substances with to get people addicted and to keep their customers coming back. And if it kills people, they don't care.
The rise in counterfeit pills and contaminated drugs makes accidental poisonings more likely than ever. And Peters is urging families to talk openly about the risks.
Why'd she use it? I don't know. I mean, as a parent, you feel so helpless.
Carfentanil doesn't just raise the stakes, it eliminates them. That's why Peters and advocates like Kennecke and Dr. DeVries are working to bring attention to a crisis that's becoming deadlier day by day.
More stories to come after the break.
When Jet Yagi first came to college, she didn't quite know what to think about virtual reality simulations.
I didn't think it would help me at all. I wasn't too sure about it because I always think I'm right and my instructor's wrong.
But she was quickly won over by the use of virtual reality in Southeast Technical College's Collision Repair and Refinishing program. They have been using VR for the past couple of years.
This one has the best virtual reality system that I've used. When I have the goggles on and everything, it is just like I'm in the booth. So it's just like, for me, it's supernatural, and that's what I want the students to have, is that experience.
In this program, students are able to paint different car parts.
I get to pick the color of paint that I get to use, and I select my panel. I think the last one I did was a hood, and then you kind of just go through and you can play with the settings to see your angle, your speed, and seeing how consistent you are to the panel. And then there's also other settings that will change the color to be like red, blue, and green, seeing if your pattern is correct, if you're overlaying correctly.
The gun is weighted, and the gun has controls on it just like a real gun. And when you're spraying, it actually vibrates, just like the feel of a gun. And the students get to actually go and watch and do the pattern. So they get to do the technique and everything involved with that. So it's about as real as you could possibly get.
While it may look like a cool game to some people, Dana Davis, the collision instructor, says there are benefits to students using the VR program.
What we've seen so far is they're using the simulator for 2 to 3 hours, and then they go out into the lab and their skills are instantaneously improved. A lot of the students that struggle spend more time on the simulator, and it brings them up to speed with more advanced students.
But you can find VR programming in more than just that classroom, including one of the most natural places you'd expect to find it, with computer programming classes. Andy Honey is a computer programming instructor. In this classroom, not only are students using virtual reality programs, they're also creating them.
The cool thing about that is that we tell them kind of, here's how you work with VR at a basic level. Now go look and research and delve deep into the different topics. And so we hand them off and have them do their own research, kind of giving them a guided research that they'll use for other computer programming tasks.
Honey says that some of the programs the students are creating are pretty impressive.
We can create these VR applications for running on phones and VR headsets just right out of the box, and then run them as websites. We've also seen ambitious student or two actually try to create a full VR game, where we've had students in the past do things like VR spell simulator, where the gestures do different spells, and you can do like Iron Man flight and stuff.
Another classroom offering VR simulations is for students working with invasive cardiology.
So the C-arm is the radiation, the II. So it's going to swivel around. This is going to act like the patient, okay? And as we're going in and fixing the vessels around their heart, on the big screen you can actually see the heart.
While it helps students practice ahead of time, there's another benefit to this virtual reality program.
Instead of introducing a whole bunch of radiation to students before they're actually into industry, then they're able to sit here and be protected and not have radiation.
And students have been grateful for that hands-on activity.
They love the fact that they're not sitting in their desk the entire time listening to a PowerPoint. They're actually getting up and physically being able to put didactic with lab.
Whether it's cardiology, computers, or cars, virtual reality has been a great addition to Southeast Technical College and its students.
It makes them feel more confident in what they're doing. It's fun. It's a good time. And yeah, you can play around with it. There's a lot of different things you can do with it.
Club for Boys partners with educators who want to continue helping students in a variety of ways after school to make sure they don't fall behind.
The growth that we've had has been really getting more teachers in because we saw such an influx of kids wanting to take part in the program, but we didn't have the time with just having one teacher in here.
Before the work can be done, these educators build relationships with the boys, providing a level of trust to help with the learning.
Relationships always come first. When I first started working here, I did not work with the boys. It was just getting to know them, playing games with them, building that relationship. Once we have that relationship built, they have a good time coming to work with us. We have kiddos that don't want the computer time, they don't want the club bucks, they just want to hang out and have some fun, play some educational games and get some extra help.
Over time, I have built a strong bond with the workers, like Mike, Shauna, Ruth Ann, Aaron. Overall, a lot of the workers I can just talk to about my problems or just say what's on my mind, and I feel like that's pretty nice to have.
These educators help meet the boys where they are to help them improve their fundamental math work, word work, and writing skills.
It's super important, even if it's 10 minutes a day, that little bit of extra help goes a long way, and it makes a huge difference in the classroom as well. And I think the boys enjoy the one-on-one attention or the 1 to 5 attention, which is something that they don't generally get at school in a classroom with 25 or 30 other students.
We've had quite a few boys that are growing. They're getting back to their grade level. We're not doing a lot of assessments here. We're just trying to help the boys bridge that gap from where they were to where they need to be. And then at the same time, like you said, trying to keep it fun, engaging, enjoyable.
This work can relieve stress on parents and their current teachers. For the boys, it's fun to be in an environment with kids on or around their levels.
I think it's really beneficial to the kids that are actually struggling because although I never struggled, I definitely do see progress from the other ones. Like I've seen some of them spell things wrong, but over time you eventually start seeing them get it more and more right.
I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. It's been such a blessing for me as well. I know it's affected a lot of boys positively, but it's made the same difference in my life, so I'm just thrilled to be here.
That's all the time that we have today for Eye on KELOLAND Rewind. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great day, everyone.